dais, senior advocates and members of the Supreme Court, High Court and District Court Bar Association, learned district session judge, and other judicial officers of the Faridabad Session Division, members of the faculty and administration of Manav Rachana University, family members of Justice R.C. Lahoti, a very distinguished team of former bureaucrats of Haryana are also present here. They have been very closely associated with me throughout my life. I don't want to name them individually. Learned Deputy Commissioner, Commissioner of Police of the Faridabad District Administration, distinguished guests, owner of the dais, friends from media, my dear students. First of all, I am thankful to Justice Uday Lalit for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you and share my views on a subject which is not only close to my heart, but it is also the current responsibility that I am carrying. I am only correcting the Madam Computer. Now I am looking after the National Legal Service Authority. So the legal aid is a subject which is I am statutorily responsible to cater on pan-India basis. It is a profound honor to deliver Justice R.C. Lahoti second memorial lecture at this university, where we have gathered not merely to commemorate a towering jurist, but to rekindle the ideals he so gracefully embodied: clarity of thought, constitutional fidelity, and an unwavering moral compass. Justice Lahoti, through more than 340 judgments, if I am correct, probably 342 judgments he delivered, wove these values into the very fabric of Indian jurisprudence. His legacy endures not just in law reports, but as a guiding light for legal reform and the pursuit of justice. On a personal note, I vividly remember my first interaction with Justice Lahoti. Though I used to appear as a private counsel in his court occasionally, but then almost frequently when I was Advocate General for the state. But my first in-person meeting, I always fondly remember. That was the time when my name had already been notified for elevation as a judge of the High Court. That was December 2003 winter break, and we had decided to take oath after the winter break in the first week of January 2004. When I came to know that Justice Lahoti is visiting Chandigarh and is staying in the UT guest house, I sought an appointment which he very gracefully granted. That meeting left a very deep impression on me, true to his reputation for gentleness and humility. He spoke to me with warmth and candor, offering invaluable guidance, especially on the do's and don'ts of justice. It was a conversation I have carried with me ever since. Justice Lahoti was not merely a jurist but a philosopher of justice, a torchbearer for the cause of legal aid. His book, Canons of Judicial Ethics, remains a moral treatise, reminding us the judiciary is not a cold instrument of the state, but a sanctuary for fairness and service. His famous lines, and I quote, "If values perish from our lives, the world will be a set of walking bodies without souls." This really captures a timeless truth that justice without compassion is justice in form, not in spirit. This singular commitment to values animated every facet of his judicial career. As early as 2005, Justice Lahoti foresaw the transformative potential of mediation and conciliation in India's justice system. He identified these alternative dispute resolution mechanisms as essential tools to meet the growing demands of the time. It was pursuant to his visionary outlook that the Mediation and Conciliation Project Committee, very popularly known as MCPC, in Supreme Court was constituted, which has since played a pivotal role in mainstreaming mediation across the country. Incidentally, I am looking after this committee also nowadays. And at present, one of the movements which I have initiated throughout the country is mediation coronation for 90 days, which is going on as of now. And we are trying to identify as many cases, contentious cases for disposal through mediation. He also laid the foundation for the digital transformation of the Indian judiciary. Under his leadership, the E-Committee of the Supreme Court was established to steer the ambitious National Policy and Action Plan for implementation of information and communication technology in the Indian judiciary 2005. That was the name of the scheme. This policy gave rise to the E-Courts project, a pan-India initiative that envisions a modern, responsive judicial system enabled by ICT infrastructure aimed at improving efficiency, transparency, and access to justice across all levels of judiciary. Justice Lahoti's jurisprudence was transformative. He did not just interpret the law, he expanded its very spirit, making it a force for dignity and protection for the vulnerable. The gender-positive interpretation of Hindu law in B.P. Anjala case, while upholding a women's right for residence, became a lodestar for compassionate and inclusive justice. His words and actions remind us that legal aid is not an act of charity, but a solemn obligation, a promise of inclusion and justice for all. It is in this spirit, ladies and gentlemen, that I wish to speak on today's subject of bridging the gap. Reimagining. Please consider the word. I am just, some of these things are just a hypothetical idea right now, which we need to translate into reality. Therefore, I said reimagining legal aid in the digital age for inclusive justice in India. Our theme today commands us to reflect, reconcile, and reform. Despite decades of progress, the promise of Article 39A to ensure that the operation of the legal system promotes justice based on equal opportunity seems to be partially fulfilled. Article 39, inserted by 42nd Amendment, calls upon the state to provide free legal aid to ensure that no citizen is denied justice because of economic or other disabilities. India is among the few nations to constitutionally mandate legal aid. Yet the stark truth is that vast sections of our population, rural citizens, the urban poor, women, children, persons with disability, the elderly, still encounter formidable barriers in accessing justice. These may be barriers of awareness, geography, language, money, physical mobility, or social stigma. Legal aid, as we have conceived it for decades, has often been limited to the provisions of free or subsidized legal representation. While this is crucial, it is only the beginning. True access to justice demands not just representation, but also information, empowerment, support, and compassion. More than 7 decades since independence, we must ask, is justice truly accessible to all? For millions across India, migrant workers, tribal communities, daily wage earners, women abandoned by families, under trial prisoners, the legal system remains distant and unintelligible. Access is hampered not by poverty alone, but also by literacy, illiteracy, gender, caste, and now digital exclusion. So digital exclusion is something that requires very serious thought. As Justice Lahoti so eloquently taught us, justice is not only justice. Justice is only justice if it is accessible, visible, and rooted in human dignity. Last Saturday only, I was in Srinagar for the launch of some NALSA schemes. A young tribal boy, about 18, 19 years old, came to running to me and wanted to interact with me. I called him as the security people were not permitting. He shared his hardship, and not of his own alone, of his community. Primarily the youngsters. He told that they continue to face great difficulties despite many schemes and welfare measures. And the difficulty was that these welfare schemes will remain ineffective till the tribal families get sustenance so that they can afford to send their children to school and get eventually the basic education that may qualify them to take advantage of benefit like reservation for scheduled tribes in employment or other social scheme benefits. What he told me was that he had to leave the Navodaya school because his family cannot afford and he need to earn for the family. So it was not his own livelihood, it was for the sustenance of the family that the boy had to give up the school. His words remind us that what is true justice and how the welfare must begin with the fundamentals without which empowerment remains incomplete. NALSA and the state legal service authorities have long been the vanguards of access to justice in India, working tirelessly through a robust network of legal aid clinics, paralegal volunteers, prison legal services, lok adalats, and targeted outreach programs for the marginalized. These initiatives have touched countless lives, often in the remotest corners of the country, reaffirming the constitutional commitment to equal justice. And I must give credit to my elder brother, Justice Uday Lalit, the outstanding and dedicated work he performed as executive chairman of the NALSA. The institution and the entire country still remembers very fondly the so many initiatives taken during his time. The current framework, rooted predominantly in bricks and mortar models of service delivery, however, faces inherent limitations. Physical infrastructure, constrained human resources, and logistic challenges restrict our ability to scale and respond swiftly to evolving legal needs and challenges, particularly in rural, tribal, and underserved urban areas. It is in this context that the digital revolution presents a compelling opportunity. Now, what is that digital moment and how this opportunity to be availed? We are on the cusp of a technological revolution. The digital age has transformed how we live, communicate, learn, and interact with the institutions around us. Technology is not a panacea, but it is an extraordinary enabler. India today has nearly 1.2 billion mobile connections, and approximately 85.5% of households possess at least one smartphone. The government's Digital India mission has ensured deep digital penetration in rural and semi-urban India. UPI transactions exceed 10 billion monthly. Telemedicine, online education, and e-commerce have really revolutionized the daily life. On the lighter side, I was told that now in some of the religious places, you can have online darshan also. Yet access to justice remains largely analog. Courts are online, laws are also digitized, but quality legal aid is yet to trickle down to the last person in the line. The digital divide has become the new face of inequality. But herein lies the opportunity. With the right vision and safeguards, technology can break geographical barriers, democratize legal awareness, and bring legal aid to the doorstep, or rather the palm of every citizen. If harnessed thoughtfully and inclusively, it can bridge the persistent gaps in our justice delivery system. Let us pause and ask, what would Justice Lahoti envision for legal aid in the India of 2025 and beyond? I believe he would insist upon two things. One, that technology must be used not to replace compassion, but to amplify it. Second, that legal aid must become truly universal in both reach and spirit. The challenge before us, therefore, is not simply about bridging a technological divide. It is about combining the best of our technological ingenuity with the enduring values of human empathy, procedural fairness, and social solidarity. Each digital leap must draw us closer to the soul of the law, a law that speaks in every tongue, answers every call, and bends always toward justice.